Hello and welcome to another episode of Practical IT. Today we're taking a look at the new Fog project. They've recently released version 1.5.0, so it's time for us to update our video to reflect the new version. As you can see on your screen, we're running Ubuntu in a VM, a VirtualBox VM. And we have navigated to the Fog project website. We'll go ahead and download the new version. And save that. And then we'll get this party started. Just some housekeeping items when you're setting up your VM. If you're going to do this along with me, you want to have your primary network card. Start off with only one installed. Primary network card needs to be set up in NAT mode. And we will set up the secondary card a little bit later, but for right now we just need to start with one card. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of our Firefox, and we're going to change to the downloads directory. And we've got our Fog tarball sitting there. So we need to extract that out. tar-zxvf fog and hit tab. And we're all set with that. Let's clear our screen. cd fog, hit tab. So fog 1.5.0 and go into bin. We'll look at what's in there again. All right. So now we need to run the installer for the first time. We'll say sudo /install fog, or just ins and hit the tab key. And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, it starts out by detecting which version of Linux you're running, which distribution of Linux you're running, and it has correctly detected that we're running a Debian-based Linux, so we'll go ahead and hit enter for the number 2. And it's asking if it's okay to make changes. Yes. And so it's going to go through and do this. What type of installation? Normal is what we want for this particular installation. And we can go ahead and accept the default NAT IP address 10.0.2.15. And we're not going to make changes from the default interface at this point. Set up router address. Yes. And we're going to accept the default for that. DHCP. Do we want it to handle DNS? We're going to go ahead and select the default. Enter. What DNS address should DHCP allow? We want to change this to be the same as the IP address. So in this case, 10.0.2.15. Fog server for DHCP service. Yes. We do not need to install any additional language packs. No to that. and it brings up the status with things that you've selected so far. And as you can see, our image storage location is in /images. Are you sure you wish to continue? Yes. And we'll let this run, and I'll be back in a few moments. All right. The next question we get is the MySQL password blank? In this case, yes it is, so we'll just hit enter for the default. And it should finish up the install here pretty quick like, and we can move on to the next phase. All right. So we still need to install the database. So we need to navigate to our URL here. Go to Firefox. .10.0.2.15/fog/administration. All right, so we get to the install update page. We click the button, install update. And we jump back to our command line and hit enter to finish up the rest of the install process. All right. Now, we need to go ahead and do a little bit of configuration work. So we'll jump back over to Firefox, click the login, and the username, default username is fog, and the default password is password. And go ahead and log in. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a little bit different layout this time. This is just the next evolution of fog. As far as the GUI goes, it still contains all the same basic items. So we're at our dashboard. We've got users, should be hosts, groups, images, storage, snap-ins, printer, client settings, tasks, reports, and fog configuration. So we're going to start off in fog configuration. Actually, hold that thought. We're going to make a quick modification to our VM, and then we'll come back and do this stuff. So I'm going to exit Firefox. And we're going to go ahead and shut down our fog VM. Okay, so we'll bring it back VirtualBox, and we'll go into, we're going to take a quick snapshot. Let's see, we're going to call this after fog 1.5 install. 0. Okay. Alright, so now we need to go back here to details and settings. We're going to add a secondary network card, and we're going to make this one bridged. This one we're going to set as internal network, and we're going to select, let's call it LabNet. It's LabNet. Alright. So adapter 2 will be bridged so that I'll be connected to my actual physical network. Network 1, which is the one we started with. And let's note that the MAC address here grab the IP or the MAC address of our second card, and just going to throw that in a document so I have it for reference when we go back in. Okay, so we've got our first adapter, an internal network, second adapter, a bridge network. We'll go ahead and start our fog back up, our fog VM back up, and go to the next phase. Alright, here in another moment or two. Alright, let's try this again. I've restored my virtual machine. I've logged back into fog. We're going to go to fog configuration. We'll make some changes. Okay, so we need fog settings, fog, settings, TFTP server, change this to 192.168.20.2. Update that. And web server, same thing. 192.168.20.2. Update, and then we need to go to storage, default member, and again 192.168.20.2. Update that. We'll exit our web administration. And we will do sudo gedit opt fog dot fog settings. Okay. So we're going to do well, I guess we'll do this manually. So we'll take all the instances of 10.0. whatever, and we'll change them to the start range. We'll make this from .20.254. We'll do save that, and we'll exit. We'll do less. We'll make sure we don't have any 10 dot addresses in here. All right. At this point, we're going to reset our network. So uh, 2E should be the one. Let's come back here. 2E is ENP0S3, so we want to change the IP address on that. I'm going to change this to manual. 192.168.20.2. 192.168.20.2. And we'll save that. I'm going to restart or shut down, make a change, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back again, and hopefully we can get through the rest of this in fairly short order. So we're going to go back to our downloads fog bin, and we're going to rerun our installer. And it shows our changed IP addresses. And it should just go through and update our settings for us. And if all works well, all works according to plan, we should be able to log in to the administration panel again. So bear with me for just a few moments, and we should be in business shortly. Or maybe not. Well, let's pause again and let me... One more time. Let's run the installer. And yes to continue. This should update our settings now that we've resolved our internet connection issue. Alright, we can go back to our Firefox and open up the management interface. Alright, so let's log back in again. Fog. Password. Okay. Now we can get to the fun part. So we're going to minimize our fog window. We're going to pick on our Solus Budgie right here. We will launch that. Now let's check the settings first. Make sure that the network card is set to internal. That's set to bridge, so we want to set this internal, and that should be LabNet. And if we launch this, should boot from the network. If all is working properly. Fingers crossed. Something doesn't appear quite right here. Let's look at this for our fog server. Network adapter. That's our problem right there. And so we will go back here, power that down, and jump over here, make sure we're still connected. This could be our other problem. Alright, let's try this again. We're going to see if we can't boot our other virtual machine from the network. So, our budgie, change the order. Of the boot. So we'll make network first. We'll turn off the damn floppy drive. And we'll go ahead and start this. And that did not, in fact, boot. God damn fucking piece of shit. Alright, so after some tinkering, I got the network issue straightened out. And so we are going to go ahead. We'll jump over here real quick. Show you that fog is indeed up and running. Alright, I've done a little testing. That's why we've got some stuff on our map. We've already got a couple of hosts registered. We do list all hosts. I did testing with my budgie VM. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run through the same basic test with my elementary OS VM. So just to outline, first we're going to register the original VM with fog. We're going to create an image and associate it with the host. We will capture to that image, and then we will register the clone VM and deploy to that. So this will take a few minutes. I will be speeding things up in post to make this go a little faster and hopefully still get the point across to everybody. We'll start our elementary OS VM. It should boot from the network this time. It's attempting it. We're actually going to do full registration and inventory. This will give us a few extra options. It takes a minute or two longer to go through it because it does prompt, but it saves us a little work on the backside configuring the host. Alright, host name for this computer, we're going to call this EOS _ original. Enter image ID to associate. We're not going to associate it this time, or with groups. No snap-ins. Product key. Not going to join to a domain. We'll skip the primary user stuff. And no, we don't want to deploy an image to the machine right now. Attempting to register, and it's pulling the rest of the information. And we'll power it back off. So if we jump over to our VirtualBox, we can see under hosts, if we do list all hosts, we now have EOS original. We're going to jump to images, create new image. We're going to call it EOS master. We're going to set it to multiple partitions, single disk, not resizable. And let's bump this compression down to 4. is good. We'll go over to tasks. List all hosts. Whoops. We need to go back to hosts. List all hosts. EOS original. And we need to set the image because it didn't save before. And update that. And now we can go to tasks. List all hosts. EOS original. I'm going to do capture. We'll jump back to the front page, the dashboard. And so we'll come back to this in a moment. We'll jump back to VirtualBox. We will kick off our Elementary OS original VM, still set to boot from network. And it should kick off and capture the image here in just a moment. I will be speeding this up so that you don't have to sit through the whole thing, because this is estimating, well, it's 3.5 minutes and going up. So I'm guessing it's going to be right around 4 minutes. Okay, so we've successfully completed the clone. We'll shut down our system. We'll jump back over here to Fog. We can see that we've got some traffic happening. If we jump to images, list images, we can see that our elementary OS master is 8 gigs in size. So now we'll jump back to VirtualBox and our elementary OS clone. We'll check the settings one more time to make sure it's set to boot from the network. Network is first boot. We're going to go through the registration process and actually clone directly right from this process. So this is a little different than I've done before in my videos, so take a look. This is pretty useful. Say cancel here. Boot from the network. We are going to do a full registration. This will be just like what we did before, only we're going to associate an image with it when we're prompted. Name of this computer, EOS clone. Enter image ID, so we'll do question mark to get a list, and this is going to be image 2. No with groups, no with snap-ins, basically no for everything else. Would you like to deploy image to this computer now? Yes. And we enter our FOG username and password. And it registers. And it should go ahead and start the deploy process. And of course this time it's just going to take off. Haha. Alright, so we've pushed the image out to our elementary OS machine, our clone. We're going to change the network settings. And turn off network boot. We're also going to set it to bridge network. And we'll go ahead and start it just to show that it has actually worked. While that's starting up, we'll jump back over here and we can see on our dashboard that we've had 4 images or 4 computers imaged. So 2 captures, 2 deploys. in our images again over here. List all images. And so we've got a record of that there. So elementary OS is still starting up. Alright, so while this finishes starting up, I do have a plan for a couple of additional fog videos. One will be adding a storage node, so that will increase the number of machines that could be imaged at one time. Also, I am going to be looking at changing my network configuration a little bit. I've got an extra network adapter for my main machine here so that I can go ahead and include physical machines in my network that is currently all VirtualBox based. So again, those will be some upcoming fog videos, and hopefully over the course of the next few weeks I will get those recorded, edited, and released to all of you fine fans out there. Alright, so this should finish starting up. Yep. And it does in fact work. Just like the original install. So, on that note, this is Jeremy Like signing off for Practical IT. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little longer than most, but got the fog stuff going, and that takes a little bit of time. So if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and click the little bell there so you can get notifications of future videos. Please tell your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.